Good day, everyone. So before we officially start with our discussion, I want you to recall the last time you have written an application letter. So were you able to follow the correct format or rules in writing an application letter? Second, were you able to make it interesting? And third, and the most important, were you able to realize the relevance of writing an application letter in your life and most especially in your future career? Without further ado, today I am going to report about how to write an effective application letter as well as its importance, structure, purpose, and of course some tips in writing this kind of letter. As we all know, an application letter is a critical part of the job hunting process. Therefore, as a future teacher or an applicant in the near future, we need to study it carefully and be able to produce a well-written or an effective application letter when we're going to apply for a job. Here are some questions that I want you to ask yourself. First, how much do you know about writing an application letter? Second, what should you include in writing an application letter? Lastly, how do you think that this application letter will help you to get a desired job? Let us now define what exactly an application letter is. So to simply define it, it is actually a one-page letter that we use to apply for a job. Remember that term, one page, which means it's not 2 pages and it is only intended for job application. Another definition is that it is also known as a cover letter, job letter, and job application letter, which is longer than the others. For the importance of an application letter, it is indeed a useful tool to highlight the key points in our resume. It discusses our education and skills, as well as it promotes our qualifications to the potential employer. So just like a personal sales letter, an application letter gives us a chance to sell ourselves, our personality, and qualifications by explaining why we are an ideal candidate for a position. So if we are able to write an effective or meaningful letter, the more chance that we are to be called for an interview. So in short, the importance of application letter is that it highlights the most relevant experiences and qualifications that we have as an applicant. Now, let me discuss to you the strategies and ways in writing an effective application letter. So, the first one here states that an application letter must expand on the skills, achievements, and professional experiences that you want to highlight. So, indeed, we need to grab the opportunity or the chance to highlight as many as we can, as many skills, experiences, trainings, and qualifications that we have. Okay, we need to emphasize that and prove to our employers that, or to our employer rather, that we have all the necessary skills or the right skills in that particular job that we desire. And of course, we need to use a hard number. For example, I work in a team of 8 caregivers. Another, your application letter must explain your personal interest in applying for the position. So, why did you choose that job and what is your attitude towards the job? So, as an applicant, you must show that you have the high level of knowledge and interest towards the job. You need to express your passion and excitement for the position. So lastly, it says here that an application letter must describe what you can offer for the company. So simply, as an applicant, you need to show to your employer what are your strengths or potentials which could greatly benefit or contribute to your company's success. So here are the following purpose or objective why we write an application letter. So the first one is to obtain a job, which I think is the most evident and the very main reason why we are writing an application letter, which is to apply a job, or in other words, to get a job which we desire or which we are passionate. And second, we are writing an application letter to attract the attention of our employer. So we are aiming to provide them or give them a well-written and effective application letter that would really grab their attention or can have a big impact or an memorable impression to them. And the third one is to boost our resume and provide more details about ourselves is another purpose of application. And then lastly, we have here to secure an interview. Basically, there are 6 parts of application letter. The first one is the heading, the second one is the inside address, the third one is the salutation, the fourth one is the body of letter, the fifth one is the complimentary close, and the last one which is the signature. So if there are parts of an application letter, we also have a format that we need to follow. We need to strictly follow because the format plays a significant role to attract the interest of our employer. It gives them an impression that we have formally written the application letter. So for the format, these are the things that we need to remember. An application letter only use a single space, and every paragraph is separated by a space. So there's a space between each paragraph. And another, the application letter must set one margin in the box. So we already know that because we use Microsoft PowerPoint always. And another thing that we need to remember is that an application letter use a font style which are the traditional ones. We have the Times New Roman, Calibri, and Arial. So all the text in application letter are aligned to the left. So you can already see it in this example or in this picture. So we have now the first part of an application letter, which is the heading. So what is the heading and what does it contain? So the heading contains the sender's address as well as the date when the letter was written. So here is already an example for you. We have here the sender's address, 28 Susano Street, Ramon Isabela, and the date when the letter was written. So October 11, 2021. So remember, the heading is on the sender's part, the sender's information. Okay? And we need to remember that the date also follows a correct format. And this is the way to format it. We need to follow the month, day, and year. Okay? We need to write the date in full and not in abbreviation. Okay? We don't need to abbreviate it. Just write it in full. Now, on the second part of an application letter, we have the inside address. So, if the heading is on the sender's part, the inside address is now on the recipient's part or information. We talk about the information about the recipient. So, the inside address contains the name of the employer, the position of the employer, as well as the name of the company and the address of the company. So here is an example, a concrete example. We have here the name of the employer, Dr. John T. Villanueva. He is the president of the company Dafu Company, located or can be found in 29 Taft Avenue, Manila. Now, the third part of an application letter is the salutation, wherein the salutation is an expression of greeting to the recipient of the letter. So, the salutation comes first before the body of the letter. So, we just need to remember that in this salutation, we need to consider being courteous or polite. In short, show respect to the recipient of the letter. So, here is an example. Dear Dr. Villanueva with a colon. Okay, so don't forget the right punctuation. So, for the fourth part, we have the body of the letter, which is the most crucial or critical part of an application letter. So here, this is the part where we convey all the messages that we want our reader to understand. So later on, I will be discussing on some suggestions in making the body of letter. So how are we going to organize our messages? So here is an example. So my past professor, Dr. Nora Garcia, has informed me of an opening in your company for an accounting major, and so on. Here are some suggestions in organizing or making the body of the letter. So in the first paragraph, it is suggested or recommended to attract the attention of the employer. So in the first sentence, we need to include there the way the writer came to know of the job. And in the second sentence, we need to put there the purpose of the writer in writing that letter. And this is an example. My past professor, Dr. Nora Garcia, has informed me of an opening in your company for an accounting major who is interested in managerial accounting. I should like to be considered for this position. So for the second paragraph, it is suggested that we need to create our employer's interest and desire to our application by indicating our educational attainment. So here is an example paragraph. So listen. I am a recent graduate of the University of Nova. The accounting courses and training I obtained from this institution stress up-to-date procedures, principles, and theories that will enable me to have expertise in the job I am applying for. For the third paragraph, it is recommended to indicate our work experiences and the trainings that we have already attended. So here is an example. So for almost 5 years, I have worked in the accounting department of CCP accounting firm. My experience in this company gave me a lot of knowledge about the techniques and terminology particular to this job. During this period, I also worked as a part-time accountant at Seaside Corporation. My past experience in these two companies will help me adjust to your program in a short span of training period. In fourth paragraph, it is now the time to showcase your personal attitudes, interests, qualities, and activities towards the job. And here is an example. So to have a chance to get into a higher phase of accounting, I plan to push through with my accounting training throughout school program in the evening. And another for the fifth paragraph, it is suggested that we need to urge the employer to act on our application letter by requesting for an interview. And here is another example for this paragraph. So example, enclosed is my resume to give you a more detailed information about my qualifications. In the sixth paragraph, you need to make your employer believe that you are the right person that the company has been looking for. For example, may I have a personal interview? You can reach through this telephone number, 987-6732. So that's all for the suggestions or recommendations in organizing and making our body of letter. For the fifth part, we have the complementary clause, which serves to end the message. So we need to formally end the message by saying sincerely yours, very truly yours, and many other more. So here is an example that I have provided is very truly yours with a comma. So the last part or the last thing that we need to include in our application letter is the signature part. So here it contains the name and the signature of the writer, obviously. So here is an example. So the name of the writer is June R. Torres, and on top of it we need to put the signature. So that would be all, and thank you for listening.